Also kurz vor 16 Uhr ist da im Bereich des Hauptplatzes oder der Raubbrücke ein Mann mit dem Messer auf mehrere Passanten losgegangen. Bei dieser Tat wurde er von den Zeugen beobachtet. Ein Essenszusteller hat das gesehen und ist mit dem Fahrzeug auf den Tatverdächtigen losgefahren und hat ihn so, Stand der Dinge jetzt, voraussichtlich von seiner weiteren oder von weiteren Tathandlungen abhalten können. Der Tatverdächtige, ein 23-jähriger Syrer, wurde unmittelbar darauf festgenommen.
We almost died. We literally almost died, dude. Look at that. We literally almost died.
This haunting video appears to be taken shortly after a devastating accident closed the Patello Bridge for over 12 hours on Friday night. Just after 10 p.m., a white vehicle heading north on the bridge collided with a transport truck heading in the opposite direction.
Surrey Fire Service and BAC-EHS administered life-saving measures to 3 occupants at scene, but tragically they were declared deceased.
Global News has confirmed that the 3 victims were South Asian men between 19 and 20 years old. Despite the destruction, a 4th passenger, also a young man, survived the crash.
One other occupant of one of the passenger vehicles was transported to hospital, and he's been in there overnight for life-saving medical treatments.
Police say the truck driver is cooperating in the investigation by the Integrated Collision Analysis and Reconstruction Service, as well as the RCMP Surrey Provincial Criminal Collision Investigation Team. This video was posted to social media, which appears to show 2 cars, a Tesla and Nissan, going at a high speed onto the bridge. As the witness driver rounds the corner, smoke is rising. The truck has crossed into the oncoming lane, and a crumpled white Nissan lies nearby. A second video appears to show the accident moments after it happened. Then the driver appears to turn away. Police do believe speed played a factor in the truck crash. It occurred just 3 weeks after a woman was killed in a head-on collision on January 26th.
The Patello Bridge has had an unfortunate and sometimes tragic history. There's been a number of serious collisions over the decades.
Police are asking any witnesses or drivers with dashcam video of the incident to contact police. Julia
At least 18 people, including 9 women and 5 children, have died in a stampede at New Delhi railway station when surging crowds scrambled to catch trains for Mahakumbh in Prayagraj. According to officials, the incident took place around 10 p.m. local time on Saturday when an unprecedented rush of passengers were waiting to board trains to Prayagraj on platform 14 and 15. The stampede occurred after 2 trains to Prayagraj got cancelled, which resulted in chaos on the platform. The situation spiraled out of control as people rushed to board the special train, and amid the sudden surge, some passengers fainted, which sparked rumors of a stampede, which again led to further panic and multiple casualties. Passengers were angry over the incident, and questions are being raised on the railway administration.
वहाँ पे 16 नंबर पे अलाउंस हुआ कि 12 नंबर पे आएगा, तो 12 नंबर पे आए। कुछ देर के बाद बोल दी अलाउंस हो गया कि 16 नंबर पे जाएगा। इसी चलते भगदड़ हो गया, वहाँ पे जाम होकर आदमी मर गए चपाके। इधर से पब्लिक भागी, उधर से पब्लिक भागी, दोनों टक्कर हो गया चपाके। पुलिस भी कह रहा है कि अपने से जाओ। ट्रेन में आदमी बोला कि सर चढ़ा दीजिए, तो बोला मैं नहीं, आप लोग खुद से चढ़ो। मैं लोग खुद से चढ़ूंगी। उन लोग की नौकरी क्यों मिला है खुद से चढ़ने के लिए? चाकू भी मारने लगे, जेब भी काटने लगे।
अच्छा, यहाँ कुछ लोगों ने जेब काट लिया।
हाँ, काट लिया। मेरे हाथ में कुछ लग गया, चाकू लग गया हाथ पे।
और उसके बाद लोगों को यहाँ से समय पे ले जाया गया। यहाँ जो लोग जो घायल थे
सबको ले जाया गया। सब झाड़ू मरवा के जूता चप्पल सब हटा दिया गया। यहाँ के पुलिस बोल रहे कुछ नहीं हुआ है। कुछ नहीं कैसे हुआ है? मौत हो गया, कुछ नहीं हुआ।
1 घंटे पहले से प्लेटफॉर्म पे खड़ा था, ट्रेन में चढ़ नहीं पाए, इतनी भीड़, सारे टॉयलेट सब में भरे पड़े हैं, कहीं कोई जगह नहीं।
नहीं अंदर नहीं जाने देते।
अंदर जगह ही नहीं, ट्रेन में ही जगह नहीं, चढ़ ही नहीं पाए, और कोई वहाँ बिठाने वाला कोई नहीं बैठा था जो हेल्प कर सके कि कोई यात्री चढ़ पाए ट्रेन में।
Initially, the Northern Railways CPRO denied that a stampede had occurred, calling it a rumor. However, soon after the incident, 4 fire engines were sent to the spot and additional security forces were deployed to control the situation. Railway Protection Force personnel and Delhi police officials assisted in evacuating the injured, who were rushed to nearby hospitals for medical treatment, and later NDRF team also arrived at the station.
क्राउड का अंदाजा हम लोगों ने लगाया था और सिचुएशन में बता रहा हूँ, जो पूरा टाइम फ्रैक्शन ऑफ द टाइम जिसमें 10 मिनट में हुआ, उसमें ज्यादा लोगों का आना, उसके अलावा 2 ट्रेन का डिले होना। बाकी ये मैटर जो है एग्जैक्टली जो फैक्ट फाइंडिंग है वो रेलवे की तरफ से फैक्ट फाइंडिंग होगी। हमारी तरफ से जो है, हमारा आज के दिन का काम एज अ जीआरपी हमारा है फॉर द इंक्वेस्ट एंड अदर प्रोसीडिंग, वो हमारी यूनिट कर रही है।
Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav announced a high-level investigation into the incident. In a post on social media, he also confirmed that 4 special trains were arranged to manage the unexpected rush with additional trains on standby. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed sorrow over the incident. He said he is distressed by the stampede at New Delhi railway station. The authorities are assisting all those who have been affected by this stampede. President Draupadi Murmu also posted on social media saying she is deeply anguished to know about the loss of lives in a stampede at New Delhi railway station. She extended her condolences to the bereaved families. And for more on latest information, we are now being joined by our correspondent Dharmjot Kaur from New Delhi railway station. Thank you so much, Dharmjot. We of course talked to you in the morning and you talked about what the situation is there. What is the latest that you can bring in from the authorities?
Well, just moments ago, Jyotsna, railway authorities have announced compensation for those who've been affected by the stampede incident. They've announced a compensation of 10 lakhs for families of people who lost their loved ones, 2.5 lakh for those who've been seriously injured, and 1 lakh for those with minor injuries. Now, this is compensation that's coming from the railways after the tragic incident that unfolded yesterday. I do have to mention one thing here, Jyotsna. Talking to people over here who are coming to catch their trains from different parts of Delhi and from neighboring states as well, it's surprising how many people do not know what really transpired here late last night, because people have been arriving here since wee hours of the morning. And it seems as business as usual. People have no idea that something this horrific happened just less than 12 hours ago at this very railway station.
Right, absolutely. That's also where I was coming to, because it seems like the railway administration, everything, they have handled the situation pretty well, considering that Ashwini Vaishnav also talked about the trains that were ran right after the incident happened to mitigate the whole situation. Well, of course, thank you so much for bringing us the latest, and of course we'll be keeping track of all that's happening.
और उसके बाद एक बैग हल्ला कर दिया कि हाँ 14 पर आ जा रहा है। अब एक इतना ना भगा मचा के पूरे में भीड़ हो गई।
आप बता दो इधर मम्मी,
उनको ऐसे आदमी सब उनको दाब दिया। इतना ना आदमी एक बैग हो गया कि उनको आदमी सब दाब दिया।
अभी अब तो खाली दिखाई हो रहा है। प्रशासन आ गया, अब तो जो उस समय कोई प्रशासन नहीं था यहाँ पे।
अब देखिए कितना
अब प्रशासन, पूरा प्रशासन आ गया, झाड़ू भी लग गया, सारा काम हो गया यहाँ पे। कोई कुछ सफाई हो गई।
अच्छा,
कुछ भी नहीं है यहाँ।
जब लोग घायल हो गए थे एकदम,
वो पुल के ऊपर ही घायल हुए हैं, वहीं से उठा के वहीं से चले गए। प्रशासन यहाँ पे आया 1 घंटे के बाद। 1 घंटे के बाद प्रशासन आया यहाँ पे। उस समय कोई प्रशासन नहीं दिखाई दे रहा था यहाँ पे। भीड़ इतनी तंगड़ी थी दोनों तरफ से।
यहीं पे था 9 साढ़े 9 बजे के करीब हुई थी भगदड़। कुछ गाड़ियां भी लेट थी, प्रयागराज भी लगी हुई थी, इधर मटवाड़ी लगी हुई थी। उसी टाइम ज्यादा पब्लिक का 13 नंबर पे बहुत भीड़ थी। जैसे गाड़ी देखी उधर के लोग इधर ही आए थे, तो यहीं पे भगदड़ मच गई थी। ऊपर भी ज्यादा लोग खड़े थे, ये हुआ था।
प्लेटफॉर्म चेंज किया गया था ट्रेन का, या फिर लोग दूसरी ट्रेन में जाना चाहते थे?
नहीं, प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं चेंज करा था। प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं चेंज करा। भीड़ ही इतनी ज्यादा थी, बहुत ही। पुलिस लोग भी सारे सारी चीजें देख रहे थे, फिर भी भीड़ नहीं रुक पाई, इतनी भीड़ थी।
प्लेटफॉर्म चेंज करने को लेकर
नहीं, चेंज वेंज कुछ नहीं हुआ था। जो गाड़ियां जहां से जाती हैं वहीं से जा रही थी। वो तो जो स्पेशल है एक्स्ट्रा वो चला रखी थी और नंबरों से, हर घंटे में गाड़ी जा रही थी। दोपहर से ही गाड़ियां चलनी शुरू हो गई थी यहाँ से, लेकिन पब्लिक इतनी आ गई कि इतना अनुमान ही नहीं था कि ऐसा, हमने आज तक ऐसी पब्लिक नहीं देखी। 26 साल हमें यहाँ पे हो गए, ऐसा तो आज तक कभी छठ पूजा पे भी नहीं हुआ जैसा रात पब्लिक आई थी। पता नहीं कहाँ से इतनी पब्लिक आई, और पूरी रात गाड़ियां चलने के बाद भी देखो अभी तक पब्लिक कम नहीं है, इतनी पब्लिक आ गई थी। पूरी रात स्पेशल गाड़ियां चली हैं यहाँ से, हर 20 मिनट में, हर 30 मिनट में, लेकिन पब्लिक बेहिसाब हो गई थी यहाँ पे, सब गाड़ियां भर के गई है यहाँ से।
इतनी भीड़ मैंने सन 81 से रेलवे में भर्ती हूँ, यहाँ पर कुली का काम कर रहा हूँ। मैंने ऐसी भीड़ कभी जिंदगी में नहीं देखी। तो ये हमसा हुआ, प्रयागराज स्पेशल भेज रहे थे ये लोग, उसको 12 नंबर से चेंज 16 नंबर कर दिया। तो 12 नंबर की पब्लिक 16 पे आई, और बाहर की पब्लिक जब 16 पे जाने लगी तो एकदम बच गई पब्लिक। इसके लीटर और जीने पे पब्लिक गिर गई। कुली भाइयों को ठीक पड़ा, कुली भाई दौड़ के आए, पूरे कुली भाइयों ने रास्ता ब्लॉक किया, ब्लॉक करके पब्लिक को रोक के और लाश निकाली। हमने खुद ने एम्बुलेंस में लोड की।
अच्छा, आपने लाशें खुद निकाली हैं?
खुद निकाली है सब।
कितनी लाशें निकाली आपने?
15 हमने लोड किए, और आगे पता नहीं है, 15 हमने लोड किए।
तो किस तरह का मंजर था कि आपने जो देखा होगा?
अरे साहब, खाई जूता पड़ा, खाई कपड़ा पड़ा, पब्लिक भच गई, एकदम दब गई नीचे पब्लिक दब गई एकदम।
At the African Union summit in the Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres issued a stern warning. Speaking on Saturday, he said the Democratic Republic of Congo's territorial integrity must be respected and the conflict in the east of the country halted.
In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Congolese people have been suffering yet again from a brutal cycle of violence. And the fighting that is raging in South Kivu as a result of the continuation of the M23 offensive threatens to push the entire region over the precipice. Regional escalation must be avoided at all costs. There is no military solution. The deadlock must end, the dialogue must begin, and the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the DRC must be respected.
Rwanda-backed M23 rebels have captured swathes of the DRC's mineral-rich eastern region, including the key city of Goma, and on Friday said it had entered the second-largest city, Bukavu.
Cheers, but also uncertainty. This is how rebels from the M23 group were greeted by a crowd of civilians upon entering the city centre of Bukavu in South Kivu. It is the second regional capital city in the Democratic Republic of Congo that the rebels have taken since early January, when they launched a lightning-speed offensive on Goma in neighbouring North Kivu. M23 marched south into Bukavu on Saturday, although conflicting reports initially made it difficult to confirm the extent of its advance. Congolese soldiers and allied troops from Burundi had reportedly retreated from Bukavu's military bases on Friday. Reports emerged of sporadic gunfire and the looting of a World Food Programme depot and supermarkets in Bukavu, while many residents hid in their homes throughout the day Saturday. Faced with the growing risk of a regional war, the international community has stepped up its calls for de-escalation and a ceasefire.
Я не дав міністрам підписувати відповідну угоду, тому що вона не готова. На мою думку, вона не захищає, вона ще не готова, щоб захистити нас, наші інтереси. There are not very concrete things about security guarantees in this document, and for me it's very important the connection between some kind of security guarantees and some kind of investment. I think that's important that Vice President understood me, that if we want to sign something, we have to understand that it will work and it will be very positive for both nations and it will bring money and security.
All right, Shalom, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rachak, Wadaj, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be, wherever you may be, Shalom, Yasharallah, Shalom. All right, another world news with commentary. probably be brief because I just wanted to read something in Esdras, but I just had something else come to mind. So real quick, that's why I had this other book up. I don't know why it's on the LSB. I wanted to go over to Joel chapter 3 real quick. Let me get out of this verse. I don't know what this is. I wasn't even reading that. I don't know why it's here. So Joel chapter 3, we just grabbed the KJV. I don't think we need this, but so it says the nations will be judged as a subheading. And I want to just jump down to, because we read this all the time, this point that I want to grab down to at verse 9. Yeah, that'll probably be good. Just get the, right here. So Joel 3 and 9. So it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. I never went into this word proclaim, which I know what it means, but just never pulled it up before. Quara'ah. To call out, recite, read, cry out, proclaim. Okay, makes sense. So it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Now, what Gentiles is this? These are talking about the actual heathens, all right? These are the Gentiles, all right? Those heathen nations, not the Israelites. So it says, prepare war, which that is the talk right now. The third world's the third woe, World War III, all right? Woe, all right? So and what you see happening, which it seems on a lesser scale, but it's really on a more major scale, honestly. But we mentioned, I think this is like the third time I mentioned it now, was Satan. I mean Netanyahu. Yeah, he's Satan though. Netanyahu he said that they call America Big Satan, and they call the state of Israel Little Satan, and then also speaking about how that they I can't remember exactly how he said or what he said, but pretty much how they're willing to fight without their allies or something to that effect. All right. Or, fight, something about fighting alone. But what do you mean fight alone if you have allies? But it's all mostly because of when you're talking about back east anyways, it's mostly because of the state of Israel. Now, America has its own things that it's involved in and that they're doing back east. A lot of things also fall into the lap of, the Israelis, okay? And so, which is no mystery, the fight against these so-called Palestinians, right? How they, pretty much just decimated the Gaza Strip. And so there's been two times in the past where these so-called, Arabic nations, these not Israelis, but these Ishmaelites, all right, have gotten together to speak out because these are their people, all right? And now here in probably be after we finish this, that clip will be played, queued up. But now, because you have Trump talking about what he right way over here in the West, but what he plans for Gaza and things of that nature. And so, they have, thoughts about that. All right. Now, I'm not saying this is leading to anywhere, but, it's kind of important to keep, eye on that. All right. Because what you have is, I guess you could say other Ishmaelites or Ishmaelites speaking out about other Ishmaelites because they're all one people. As I mentioned before, there's been 2 meetings they've already come together and had. And now here with Trump and this whole, Gaza thing, they're speaking up about it again. All right. And, speaking their mind, about it again. Because he wants to make this, I don't know, like annex, like he wants to pretty much annex Canada and everything else. All right. So, there's a bone to pick with America. And I'm going to get what I wanted, but I'm going to read this first because we're heading towards that third woe. But before that happens, all right, the MOTB has been planted. I always, got to make that clear, but we're not speaking about the MOTB right now. So it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. It's lucky for me rambling. I just want to kind of get the gears rolling, or gets the gears turning. It says, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. I mean, pretty much all these nations that have a standing fighting army. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. I was thinking that was in Isaiah 14. But actually, no, the one that says, Isaiah, has thou become as weak as we. Same difference, though, all right? Nations that that didn't have, certain type of missile or offensive or defensive capabilities before, because of their strategic alliances, they're now being given the means to create certain weapons or, house certain defensive systems in their territories or whatever the case may be. All right. And so you see everybody, though they are still advancing economically, all right, their main focus is on advancing militarily. Okay. So it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, meaning everybody with the standing fighting army. Gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. And where are they going to gather? As a matter of fact, let's just read it. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or it's Jehoshaphat, but it's Jehoshaphat in Hebrew. And that word waken, all right, is awar, all right. It says to rouse oneself, awaken insight, you see, to stir up, right? You see, and that's what the Lord is doing. He's stirring up World War III to act in an aroused manner, right? Awake, okay? Get out of your economic advancements and get into the military advancements, all right? Because it's time to fight this big fight that everybody's been talking about with the doomsday clock and everything else, all right? And speaking on the doomsday clock, all right, this man knows there's an ending coming to his rulership. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a doomsday clock, all right? World War III, okay? But you're supposed to be, the greatest people on the planet. The Israelis are the people of the Lord and all this stuff. So why is there a doomsday clock then? Why are we moving towards a war when the Israelites, well, not the Israelites are going to end the wars. Yahushua is going to end all the wars because he himself is going to fight these wars. But afterwards, there's going to be pretty much world peace, all right? Not meta world peace, not basketball player. I'm talking about actual world peace because the Israelites will be in rulership. Now, when I say that, world peace is more so for us because the nations are going to be getting, a double foot up their rear ends, all right? But you get the point. So let's get back. So it says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. When you're going to both of these, you should come up with Shaphat. All right. There's Shaphat right there. All right. Yahweh. All right. Yahweh Shaphat. Shaphat meaning judge. All right. Yahweh has judged. Okay. And there's the word judge right here, which is also Shaphat. So that's why I say you should come up with the same thing there. Judge, govern, vindicate, punish. You see? To rule, govern, judge. All right. So, yeah, it says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, because ultimately everybody's going to go down and fight. Eventually, whatever American troops are over there, they're either going to die in the war or they're going to lose their battles and have to retreat, or maybe they taking hostages or whatever the case may be. But eventually America is going to be wiped off the map. And then those nations are going to continue fighting. But when America is wiped off the map, because there's going to be war on this soil as well, America's going to be wiped off the map, so the troops are going to have to come back home in order to fire the missiles, because they're not just going to launch off on their own people. They're going to allow them to retreat from America after this place has been torn up from the east to the west. All right, torn up from all sides. Then they're going to be bombing this place off the map, as is recorded in Revelation chapter 18. And so that's when Yahushua is going to pop up, because he has to gather up the elect from Babylon, because this is the greatest place of destruction. All right, as Apostle Tar always says, the greatest place of destruction and greatest place of deliverance. And in this deliverance, the Israelites that are scattered throughout the rest of the earth will be gathered all at one time, because the Lord's only going to do this once. He's going to gather everybody at once. But the main place is most definitely America, because this place is going to be completely destroyed. All right, and then however because the scriptures are written, we know the scriptures say, but however all the rest of that is going to play out when the salvation happens, like how the destruction, because I don't know, maybe he'll finish destroying these heathen nations while we're in the chariot, until we're watching it. All right, because we know we're going to get to see the bird's eye view, Lord will their number, because John spoke about it, the Revelator. So we know we're going to see the bird's eye view of America being destroyed. But are we going to be in the chariot while Yahushua is destroying the rest of the heathen nations? Or he's going to give his men spiritual powers? And, because, we don't really know how it's going to play out, because Revelation 21, all these different chapters come into play. So we know what's written, but how they're going to play out, we just have to live and see it through. But, it's possible we're on the chariot while Yahushua is destroying, and after the nations are destroyed, their armies or whatever, maybe the ceremony takes place, because now all the victory is to be had, because, there's no victory really to be, because Yahushua is here, but, ultimately, when you're thinking, military-wise, war-wise, right, there's no victory to be had until you actually won the fight, which we know Yahushua is going to win the fight. So is he going to take out the heathen nations? And then we have, the ceremony where we're going to, chill and kick it out with Yahushua, and, whatever else happens. I don't know, the crowning ceremony, all these things. Then Revelation 21 we come back down. Men have spiritual powers, digging them out the bunker, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things to come into play, but we have to, wait to see exactly how they're going to unfold. All right, but let's keep going. So it says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So it says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe, meaning it's time. All right. This goes to what? Isaiah 63, which links in with Revelation, right? Because it speaks about putting in the sickle, the harvest is ripe, so on and so forth, right? Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. And I wonder what the press. I know it's just one of the agricultural type of tools, right? The press, wine press, wine vat. So I figured it would say that. The other word here is nagan. Okay, so we don't need that. All right, so yeah, but yeah, this links up with Isaiah 63 as well as with the book of Revelation. All right, so yeah, it says, "Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for the wickedness is great." Yeah, all these heathen nations, right? They're thinking about fighting one another to take rulership in the earth, not knowing that the Lord is coming back to judge all their wickedness, and a major portion of that is because of the Heavenly Father, the Lord and Savior, the angels of heaven, and us Israelites, man, because you blasphemed the Lord and defiled, everything, image-wise, that, pretty much belongs to us. Told you that God, from one point, telling him that your name is just God, and told you that he was white. Gave us Jesus, the white man, all right, as the Savior. Angels paint them, all right. They don't even paint the angels as men, all right. Which we get some, art where you see angels as men, but they also paint the angels as little Cupid babies, man. All right, those are not angels, man. Little naked babies on clouds with wings, baby wings, and bow and arrows making people fall in love. No, that's mythology. And then they always paint over you saints, right, as so-called white people or Edomites, man. Okay. And when even sometimes when they want to really tease you and spit in your face, what they'll do is they'll use a Middle Eastern person, not an actual Israelite, but just a Middle Eastern person. Like, what are you doing, man? All right. But it goes to show you that they don't want to link you to being who you are any type of way. All right. But yeah, it says, so for their wickedness is great. So all the things that they've done, throughout history that has blasphemed the Heavenly Father and so on and so forth and on down. But like the scriptures say, for the controversy of Zion, but also just in general, for, as we just mentioned, for the controversy of Zion. I think we read that yesterday, Zechariah, all right, or sometime, all right, but Zechariah 1:15, where it says that he's sore displeased at the heathen round about at ease, all right, just paraphrasing. So it says multitudes, because this is going to be, the largest gathering of troops for any type of war in all history. All right. Multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. That's what we're telling you Israelites, man. That day of the Lord is near. And this day of the Lord, as it says in Amos chapter 5, is darkness and no bright. Let me get that real quick. Okay. I guess it's going to be longer than I thought, but hey, let's let the spirit roll out. So Amos, I was looking for, here we go. 18, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. All right, because a lot of people, don't believe in that there's a God, but then there's some Israelites who truly believe that there's a God. We understand that, and that's the hopeful elect remnant. But then you have Israelites who believe there's a God, but then they have this, off way of thinking, or like the ones that they'll believe that they're Israelites, but they don't want to fully conform to the truth. They would just want to bring, and stay out in the world. Just know you're an Israelite, but you be out in the world. No, it's not. The Lord's not dealing with that. All right. And so a lot of people, especially like I always mention the churches, man. The churches, they believe in a God. It's not the God of the Bible, but they believe in a God. And the point that I'm making is that they believe there's going to be a time of destruction and death, and they think they're going to get whisked away, and so on and so forth, and all this. And they want to see this day of the Lord, right? Well, they have no idea that when this day of the Lord comes, they're going to be caught in it on the left-hand side, man, because they're not worshiping the true power, man. They're not worshiping the true Savior. They're worshiping, false deities, okay? So, yeah, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? Are you on the right-hand side of the Lord, or are you on the left-hand side? All right? So it says, the day of Yahweh is darkness and not light. But the churches tell you that Jesus is coming. He's going to come to love everybody and save everybody. Well, that makes no sense, because that means Jesus is too soft to even have slaves. And the scriptures talk about having slaves, because when the kingdom of heaven is established, we're not going to be building up the way cities. We're not going to be planting those new gardens with that fresh wine and all these different things. We're not going to be doing any of those things. We're not going to be burying dead bodies. Definitely not that, because the scriptures tell us that we're going to be a nation of kings and priests don't come near dead bodies. So we're definitely not going to be burying dead bodies, not even marking dead bodies. Those are going to be the heathens who are going to be slaves. So how is Jesus coming to save everybody and love the whole earth? You see how that doctrine has just a giant hole in it. So it says, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him or went into the house. And that's beautiful, because the Lord talks about animals, teeth of wild beasts, even newly created creatures and things of that nature. But on the flip side of things, because the Lord always has that righteous balance. We read that yesterday, Job chapter 5, man, where you shall be in league with the beasts of the field and the stones of the earth. You see? So it could be a pack of, we don't know how a pack of wolves got into the city. But those pack of wolves, go right past, the hopefully elect remnant, because they have their hedge up, and then they go shoot somebody that was right behind you. It's probably trying to stalk you or something, like, yeah, this person right here, this dude, dude don't never seem like he's hungry. I've seen him a few times now in the last few days, all right? He's never hungry. He's always fed. I'm about to go take what he got. I'm going to find out where he's lodged at, so I can take what he got and not know that the Lord's walking him to a pack of wolves. And then those wolves might turn around and start following you. As if a man, now on the flip side, as we just mentioned, hey, there's going to be animals just tearing people apart. As if a man did flee from life. Also, twofold, just in general, all right? Because it doesn't have to be animals. It just could be the things that are going on. It's going to be so many crazy things going on, so many crazy deaths, so many, people against people, and all these different things going on. So just the death and destruction that's going to be taking place in Jacob's trouble. As if a man did flee from a lion, a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of Yahweh be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? All right. So if we go back here, back on point, it says, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining, because the nuclear missiles. All right. Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of his children of Israel. And that salvation to come is Yahweh Shah. All right. And it says that he's going to stand upon the Mount of Olives. Doesn't mean he's actually going to stand up there. All right. It just means how he's coming to, as we just read up above. Actually reading the gathering of these troops for World War III, but he's going to come to take them down, which is after America is destroyed. That's in Zechariah that I'm referring to, where it says he shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, man, over there where everybody's gathered to battle. And that carries over to Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, because it says that everybody's going to stop fighting the battle that they're fighting to turn and fight him. They were so afraid, but yet durst fight. So you see how all these, as I said yesterday at camp, when I spoke about camera angles, you'll see a scene happening in the movie, a major scene, and they'll catch it from different angles. Well, that's why how the prophets are, right? In the Lord's movie, the prophets are the different angles of the same scene. So they're speaking about the same thing every single time, but you're catching it from a different angle, meaning this prophet may word it in a different way. This prophet may word it in a different way, but they're all talking about the same thing. All right. John said there's like fig trees falling. He's talking about the missiles. All right. Or you get, stars falling from heaven, but it's talking about the missiles. You see? Peter spoke about, everything dissolving, with fervent heat. And here it says the sun and the moon be darkened and the stars shall withdraw their shining. It's the same thing. It's the nuclear destruction, the mushroom clouds. So different angles of the same scene in the Lord's movie. All right, so it says, so shall you know that I am Yahweh, your power, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore, because that's salvation given. All right, so I want to go over here and actually get what I wanted to get. I threw that in there through the Spirit. I want to go over to 2nd Ezra chapter 15, excuse me. And I want to jump right down here, maybe verse 37, because I was speaking about those Arab nations. That was pretty much the point of this whole, session here, chopping it up real quick. All right, because eventually they're going to stop talking and they're just going to make their stance. But everything has to play out the way that the Lord has it planned out. And before, that third war can fully escalate in the East, the MOTB has to come. But that doesn't mean, as we see playing out, that doesn't mean that the Lord can't lay the layers for World War III, because it's not just going to be, wake up one day and everybody's angry and fighting. No, the Lord's going to lay those layers up, over time. He's going to bring things up to that tipping point. And once everything's set in place and it's time for that, all he has to do is kick the pot, all right, and let the hot liquid flow. So it says, 2 Ezra 15:37, and there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon earth, and they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. And then shall there come great storms from the south and from the north and another part from the west, you see, because everybody's gathering down to the valley of Yahushua, basically in the so-called Middle East, right? So what's going to happen here? All right. There's going to come great storms from the south, which we know the Ishmaelites, all right, are in the south, right? We also have what it says, and from the north, because you got, Russia and those different individuals, coming and so on and so forth, right? Then it says in another part from the west, because like the scriptures say, how's it worded? Talks about the Euphrates River being dried up to make way for the kings of the east, all right? But the east is not mentioned here, all right? But I'm just making a point. But it says in another part from the west, because we know America is also going to have to come over and fight for the sake of the Israeli. I'm not Israeli. Yeah, the Israelis, think about the Palestinians, right? So yeah, great storms from the south, great storms from the north, and another part from the west, because eventually America, as the scriptures say, the least of the flock shall draw them out. They're going to have to come over and fight as well, man. So it says, and strong winds shall rise from the east. Now, you get the east, all right? Strong winds shall arise from the east, and shall open it, and the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the star stirred to cause fear toward the east, and west wind shall be destroyed. And ultimately, it's a great destruction, war and great destruction, eventually by missiles, right, that are coming. So it says, the great and mighty cloud shall be puffed up full of wrath. And these clouds are talking about armies. And the star, right, which going into what we just talked about, the missiles, right, that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein, and they shall pour out over every high and eminent place an horrible star. All right. And those are we talk about the missiles. And it says it here, fire and hail and flying swords, because we know the swords are talking about the missiles. The bow is talking about the silos. All right. So you hear, the bow and the arrow sometimes in the scriptures, or sometimes it's actually talking about an actual bow and arrow, but then sometimes it's talking about the missiles, but the flying swords. All right. So it says, and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. It says, and they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood and grass of the meadows, and their corn, and they shall go steadfastly unto where? Steadfastly unto Babylon, and make her afraid. Because eventually, all the nations are going to have their fill of war. But we're speaking about, this particular, clip there. Eventually, those Israelis are going to, because while we are prophets, they're going to make their full stance, man. Okay. Eventually, they're going to pretty much, make that full stance, and they're going to go attack these Israelis, which is going to cause America to come into the fray. And then, this is going to cause every strategic alliance to start fighting, because, they're going to have to back one another up. Okay. And the war is going to hit the shores of America. Okay. And there's sleeper cells here in America. It says, they shall come to her and besiege her, right, into America. All right. The star, right, the missiles, and all wrath shall they pour out upon her, because after war has taken place all over the states and they withdraw themselves, all right, the missiles are coming, man. It says, and then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven. You see, This links up with actually many other prophets, right? I was thinking in particular just in Revelation chapter 18, because it mentions that. All right, the smoke of her burning. I believe it says that smoke of her burning. It says, then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her, and they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear. All right, because those American troops that are remaining, those that weren't destroyed here in Babylon, maybe they were deployed across seas. All right, eventually, since there's no true American, true standing army, or command, or I can't really think of the word I'm trying to look for, but they're basically going to, break apart. All right. Pretty sure those Americans are going to find whoever they're going to side with them. If you had a Russian person in the American army, they're going to go back home to Russia and join up with them. Chinese people, they're going to go back to the Chinese people, and so on and so forth. All right. It says, and they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear. Because America's destroyed now. Their alliance, their army or whatever, all those things are broken up. The troops are going to pretty much scatter, man. Even mentions that in, I think it's in Jeremiah, where it says that they shall run to one post, all right? And, just roughly paraphrase and stuff like that. And then it goes on to say, and thou, Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, art in glory of her person, right? Because it goes on to talk about China for a small brief second there. Then it jumps back into, America. But yeah, the point that I was making here, that eventually, all these things that you see, these different layers that the Lord is laying on, eventually, all right, it's going to come to that point, all right, where, hey, it's all out war. But we know the MOTB has to come first, all right? But it's going to come to that point, man, all right, where, and for example, since we're talking about them, those Israelis are going to stop having meetings. They're going to stop talking. They're going to stop voicing their opinion. And then it's time to fight, man. And, when these situations happen, you're going to see how this one individual is going to draw this individual in, that individual is going to draw that, because everybody's allied with somebody, so like this side or that side. And this side has allies and that side has allies. So everybody's going to be, just like the scripture say, drawn, towards the Middle East, the so-called Middle East, all right? State of Israel and those different areas there to have war, all right, on this planet. And this war is going to cover a lot of territory, right? It's not just like everybody's going to be cooped up in the state of Israel and the Gaza Strip. No, it's going to cover a lot of territory, because we're talking about armies from all over the earth, all right? And just between Russia, especially China and India, there's a large number of individuals fighting on that particular side of the fight. And then you have Americans, so on and so forth, all right? They have large numbers as well. So it's going to cover a lot of territory. A lot of territory is going to get destroyed. A lot of towns, a lot of cities destroyed, all right? Because it's all out war, all right? And in war, all right, you don't have time to think about, preserving buildings and things of that nature. You have to think about preserving the troops, all right? Because without the troops, that means your people lose, which they're going to get overrun and taken anyways. But I think that was the point. I was, chopping up a little bit about that, but through the scriptures though. So we'll finish the news out. So Lord will, you will edify, Sean.
great to welcome you in Jerusalem with your delegation. It's great to welcome you in Jerusalem as Secretary of State of the United States. I have to say that this visit comes in the wake of a historic visit to Washington. I've said, and I'm going to repeat it again, because it's so true. President Trump is the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House. And the visit in Washington reflected that in every way. And your visit here reflects it in every way. Throughout your political career, you've been a great supporter of Israel and a great champion of the U.S.-Israel alliance. I have no doubt that your unwavering support will continue during your tenure as Secretary of State. And I also have no doubt that you'll be a voice of clarity and courage on the world stage for the values that we in Israel, you in America, hold dear, the values of freedom for all those who cherish liberty. You're already doing that, and I want to tell you that it's heard loud and clear here and everywhere else.
self-reliant, sovereign country that stands on its 2 feet. We will reward work, unleash entrepreneurs, harvest our resources, make our own goods, trade with each other, build homes for our youth, rebuild our borders and military, honor our history, and raise our flag. What binds us together? What binds us together is the Canadian promise that anyone from anywhere can do anything, that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful house on a safe street, wrapped in the protective arms of a solid border defended by brave soldiers under a proud flag. To preserve that flag and its promise, we must work together, fight together, and win together. That is what it means to put Canada first. But I warn you, it will not be easy. We may have very hard days ahead. But I have a question. Do you think making Canada was easy? Do you think it was easy for the Inuit to sleep in homes of snow, pull dinner out of the icy waters, and survive thousands of winters in minus 45? Pensez-vous que c'était facile pour les
You think
colons
it was
français
easy for French colonists back in 1600 after a brutal winter? Only 5 of them survived. And yet others still came and established a French presence that is still prosperous today in Quebec.
Do you think it was easy to drive the spikes into the Canadian Pacific Railway, into the frozen ground, through the rock, muskeg, and mountains? Chinese laborers, under brutal conditions, forge a ribbon of steel that unites east to west. Do you think it was easy for the Canadian teenagers living in frozen, rat-infested trenches only to run out towards flying metal to attack and beat the Germans in World War I as their sons and daughters would again do in World War II? Pensez-vous que c'était facile?
You think it was easy to fight in Italy during the Second World War, going through town after town, Monte Cassino, and many Canadians fought under intense heat and great cold.
Cancer-ravaged body to run across our land, pounding his one and only leg again and again on lonely highways with chipped bones and blistered limbs to fight the disease that would later take his life? No, none of this was easy. Making Canada was hard. Those are the people who built and defended our country through sacrifice and struggle, but they did not go that far and travel that long so that we could take the easy way out and give up. Like them, we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We are in this together. We are at this place in this time because we have a job to do, to pass on intact what we inherited from those who came before us to those who come after us.